Are you short on time but still want to make gorgeous handmade cards? Welcome to 5-Minute Card Ideas, where I share quick, creative techniques to elevate your card making fast. And today is all about foiling, but obviously you can take these designs and make them your own using whatever products you have. All right, so we're going to start by batching it out, and we're doing some hot foiling to begin with, and I'm using some Better Press plates here. One great way to speed things up is to do multiple stamping, die cutting, foiling all at once, because you're already in the space getting everything ready to go. And this is a sentiment set that has multiple sentiments that you can get in one pass, and it also has a coordinating die. So that's going to speed things up. Otherwise, you can batch things out and do a few different sentiments all at once, and that's going to make things easier. And when it comes to foiling, it's really not one of the fastest things to create cards with. So while I'm waiting for my foiling sandwich to cook, I usually wait about 2 minutes, I'm using that time to die cut some second layers for my sentiment, because I always like to double it up, because I am going to pop these up. Obviously, if you're using a thicker cardstock, then you might not need to worry about this step. You can't speed up the process when it comes to rolling the images through your machine. Things like that, you just have to take the time and do that, because otherwise it's false economy. You'll end up having to start again. And I always like to roll it through twice, like forward and back, and allow time for the hot foil to cool down before I remove the release paper. So while that's cooling down, I'm already getting on to my next step, which is going to be my first card today, and we're going to be doing a background. So backgrounds are a great way to make a very fast card, because you can basically add it to a card and add a sentiment and you're ready to go. I'm using some black foil here today, but you could use whatever color you have on hand. Gold would look just as beautiful. I just felt like I needed to use a lovely bold color today with these plates, because those fine lines on those petals is just glorious. All right, so my sentiments have cooled down now, and I can remove the release paper and just check the result of the hot foiling. And isn't that pretty? These sentiments are so pretty. Don't throw away the release paper. We're going to come to that in a minute. So I'm cutting multiple sentiments all at once here, and then while my sandwich is still cooking, I'm going to add that second layer. Obviously, this step is not compulsory. I won't make you do it. This is just what I do if I'm going to be popping up a sentiment. And I like to use a liquid glue. It's nice and fast. It does give me a little bit of time to move the sentiment together. I know this is taking a little bit longer than the 5 minutes to do this, but look, I have a ton of sentiments here, and there may be some more coming along the way. It's great to have these on hand. The other thing I always have on hand are some pre-made card bases. I make my own, but you can actually buy these. I like to use a really heavyweight cardstock, like the 110 pound, and I haven't found anywhere that sells that in a card base. And plus, it's cheaper to buy the cardstock in bulk and make my own. Right, so the sandwich has cooked, and I run it through the die cutting machine again. And I did allow a little bit of time to let that cool down before I remove the release paper. How pretty is that? And don't throw that release paper away. We're going to be using that. And I did notice that there were a few specks of the foil still on the release paper, so I just scraped those away using a craft knife. And I'm going to show you how you can fix the image itself as well, because there were a couple of dots of the white cardstock showing through. And we've got one more thing to hot foil here. I've got this beautiful big bloom. It's also a Better Press plate, and I'm using the black foil. So one thing I would recommend if you're doing a set of cards, because you've got your supplies out, you might as well make a few, is to keep the same sort of color tones or the same sort of flow of colors throughout. It's going to speed things up. And this is how I fixed the white spots that weren't quite foiled perfectly. I've got a black Sharpie here, and I'm just dotting it over top of those. It wasn't too bad actually, it was only a couple. And this is my favorite part. We're going to be doing some toner foiling. Did you know that you can use your leftover hot foil on coloured toner sheets, or black coloured sheets, or white toner sheets? It's amazing. It's like a game changer. The thing with this is, because we're going to be running this through a laminator, is that you don't want that toner to touch the carrier sheet because it will adhere to it. If it does, it's not the end of the world, because you can come back in with a cloth and some of the acetone, and you can clean your toner sheet with that. So back in the day, I used to try and use my leftover hot foil with one of those solid hot foil plates, and I would spend an age trying to work out the correct sandwich for the specific, because each company has different plates, different foils, and different heats. Like, it was just all too hard, and I would try and use that leftover hot foil, and I was just so hit and miss. Being able to use it with these toner art sheets, honestly, every time it's perfect. It's so easy to do. And like I said, don't throw away that sentiment sheet, because we're going to be using that as well. And if I took the time to create this background myself with all those different colours, lots of blending, it just would have taken me an age to do that. And I wouldn't have been able to get as bright as that either. But how quick and easy was that to do, have that leftover foil on the coloured background. It's a game changer. The great thing about using the coloured foil in the sentiments too is that now I can just run that through the die cutting machine using the coordinating die. This is probably my favourite colour of toner art. I know it's white, it's boring, but it's lovely. I just love being able to use leftover hot foil on and have a white background. Isn't that great? And I'm going to run that through the die cutting machine as well. Like I said, I've got a ton of sentiments here now. They did take me a little bit longer to do, but they won't go to waste. I'll be able to use them. So one thing I did do to speed things up was use a rectangle die. I've got a set of A2 nesting layers dies, and then I can just use my align tool and add that to my panel real quick. I'm not adding any dimension to the actual layers on the panel, like to the card front, because that takes time. I'd have to layer it up on another piece of cardstock and also add foam or foam tape, to the back. I did give in though and add a little bit of foam tape to the sentiments, so there is some dimension. Another thing you could do is quickly add some sequins or some bling of any kind. I didn't go down that track because I know how long that can take me to do. Now for my first background panel, I decided to cut it to a full A2 size and add it to the whole front of the card, as in not the half front of the card. Yeah, of course it's the whole front of the card, Therese. And then I added a simple coloured sentiment. I wonder if I could add blended colour to the white and black ones. I'll have to give that a try. I know I could do it with the ones on the white cardstock, but I'll have to see if that works. Alright, I did consider just leaving this flower black and white with a black and white sentiment, but I wanted to bring the colour into this card as well, so I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of partial die cutting. And for some reason I thought I had my old die cutting machine here and I'm facing the whole cutting side up, and I probably I could have just made it easier on myself and used the partial die cutting facing down, but anyway, it's easy enough to do. I have a guide wire in my paper trimmer, so I could just see where the die had cut to, and I could just cut down to that. You can use a craft knife and a ruler if that's easier for you, or even a pair of scissors. Just draw a pencil line and cut it with a pair of scissors. No one will ever know. And I decided to And you see here, I made a little boo-boo. When I put that through the die cutting machine, I'll put tape over the foil. Duh. And to bring the colour into this card, I've just grabbed some more of that sort of rainbow colour cardstock and adhering that to the front edge of the card. I didn't want to waste time measuring it, and one of my favourite tricks to save time is just to adhere it down, flip the cardstock over and cut away any excess. And I'm going to do that same technique for the floral panel here. I have got it cut just a little bit longer than it needs to be. I didn't add any dimension. I desperately wanted to add dimension, but I didn't. And then I could cut away the edges and pop up a sentiment. I did allow myself some grace and some dimension just with the sentiments here today. All together now, starting with the bold hot foil floral panel and a coloured sentiment. And we used that leftover hot foil reversed, like the negative piece, to create a multicoloured panel using some toner art. It's just beautiful. And the final card where we used a really pretty floral bloom and added some colour in and did a little bit of partial die cutting. Really fast and easy cards. Let me know in the comments below if you have a favourite card today, and if you like these 5-minute card ideas, be sure to subscribe, because creativity doesn't have to take all day long. I've got some more foiling videos here for you to enjoy, and I can't wait to see you there. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.